Hello everybody and welcome to episode 58 of the Wildlife Photography Q&A. As you can see, we're not in the office, we're actually out on a bit of an assignment at Thorny Bush Game Reserve, and we're staying at Siseka Lodge. So hopefully there'll be more of these to come in future episodes. But with me I've got Gerry and Mike. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good. Hello. Same as 10 minutes ago.
So yesterday and earlier this morning we asked you guys to send through some questions that you might have relating to the lodge and where we are and maybe some of the reserves. So we're going to go through those questions that you guys sent through and answer them for you.
Okay.
Question number one.
Okay, Tammy Ann asks, how old is the lodge and how big is it? Also, how long can you stay at the lodge for? Well, how long can you stay for? How much money do you
What's
have?
your budget? Yeah, that's a easy.
So if we're talking about
easy one to
Siseka,
answer.
how old?
Yeah, it's about 2 years old.
March. I think I said March is 2,
March.
eh?
It's one of the newest products. And in terms of size, if I have it correctly, it's 9 rooms, 10 including the villa that they
Little
have.
villa, yeah.
But I think the question of size is quite a broad question. But being here, in terms of a lodge environment, it feels, as it's laid out, I think a lot larger than it is.
Yeah.
Just because how they've designed this place.
Yeah.
Very open and very neat, plain, neutral colours. It's a great place.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting though, because even though the lodge is 2 years old in March, COVID basically took a year off that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it still feels brand new and fresh. So.
Yeah. And I think the question of how long you can stay, I think the longer you stay, the better, because you get a better idea of the camp, the reserve, the movement of animals. And then also, you know, when you're staying in a beautiful lodge like this, you kind of have to take a morning or an afternoon just to sit back and enjoy it. You know, there's a beautiful plunge pool that you have to sort of make use of that. Whereas if you just stay for like 1 or 2 nights, it's all a rush and you're basically living out of a bag.
Yeah.
How much money do you have? Talk to us and we'll get you in here. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
Artie Kunwar asks, which animal is your favorite to take photos of?
All of them.
Wild dogs.
Polar bear. Next.
Have you seen any polar bears this morning?
Oh, in Africa. Okay, leopards.
In
Fun.
Africa.
Okay, next one here is from Mike Brown. I've heard the sightings time limits are a lot stricter than in the Sabi Sands. How do you feel this impacts a photographic safari? Not all lodges allow for the freedom that Londolozi has, for example. So we're talking about Thorny Bush now.
Yeah. It's look at it. I think it is a bit of a almost, I won't say a game that you have to play, but you have to. I think the more you do it, the more you get to know when to move into a sighting. So you know, if you want to really photograph lions moving, you're not going to go in there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you got to sort of play your cards almost and wait for the right time and maximize it. Yes, you probably can't spend 4 hours with a pride of lions or with leopard or something. But I think generally the guys, from what we've experienced, the guys have been pretty good. I mean, yesterday we had lions hunting buffalo, and the guys on the radio said, listen, we've got guys that are filming. You know, would you mind if we sort of come in a little bit earlier? And they let us in. So.
Yeah, and we respected their space.
Of course.
I mean, we kept back. We didn't get into the prime positions. But I think this question is also, or the reason why I'd asked this question was Mike Brown, if I have it.
Yes,
correct,
Mike Brown photography.
was probably more of a post-COVID or a pre-COVID information.
Sure.
Because obviously the lodge was a lot busier, many more vehicles out in the field. And then, yes, you could feel that pressure. And a few weeks ago, I recorded the podcast, The Time to Travel is Now, because due to the exclusivity of not only the lodges you're staying in, but the reserve you're exploring. There's not a lot of vehicles out at this time of the year, or in the season, should I say, due to the fact that there's not many international tourists coming through these lodges. So we're not really feeling that time pressure in sightings.
Haven't once actually this trip.
It's been incredible. So if we kind of pull those strings and say, okay, let's stay, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a thing, and folk need to understand that it's for the better of the animal.
Sure.
It's an ethical thing to do, so you don't cram these animals and surround them with vehicles.
I also think the one thing that maybe negates this question is good guiding. So Grant Parker, who's the head guide for the Thorny Bush collection, he's our guide here, and he has been absolutely spot on with every single sighting we've gotten into. So with the buffaloes from yesterday, timed it as we pulled in, like 5 minutes later, the action happened. This morning chasing the wild dogs, it wasn't even a chase, it was like calm and collected, and boom, there it is. So I think if you have a guide that understands your expectation and what nature can deliver, that mixes beautifully. The other thing is, I think a lot of wildlife photographers have to ask themselves, I can put you in a sighting for 4 hours or 20 minutes. Can you get shots in both? Because some people fuck it up for 4 hours and they walk away with trash. Whereas if you know what you want and you understand your gear, you can come in 20 minutes and you get some keepers. So
I also think, as photographers, again, don't be an idiot about it. Be respectful to other people as well. Don't leave right after lunch and sit there from 1 o'clock in the afternoon and try and be there till 7:30 at night. Also give the other guys a chance. Move in there late afternoon when the light is good, and then photograph. Then I think the guys will respect you a lot more as well.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Okay, next one. Hopefully, we're talking about Siseka here. Hopefully this lodge is locally owned, and are the staff being paid during the lockdown? So before we go there, and if someone says then, oh, I see it is South African. So yes, it is South African owned, but we passed lockdown and the lodges are open again. But were the staff paid during lockdown?
No, if I recall a discussion we had with, it wasn't here at Siseka, it was at Sambambili where we were prior to this.
Yes.
Where the management there had told us that even though not only them but all the lodges in the industry had faced a very difficult time during lockdown when there were no feed through the lodges and there were no international folk coming through, it was a very challenging time, but they did find ways and means around this major problem.
Sure.
Where they were, yes, paying their staff less, but they were still paying them to keep their spirits up, to keep them motivated, and still just to support their families during this tough time. And speaking to Tendai at Simbambili, and I'm not too sure how it looks like or stands like here, but there's been new check-in today with people checking out. So feeds are starting to come through, which is a great sign, because this answers that question. Yes, now again, they will be getting paid.
Sure.
The money's coming in, and it's just great to see.
And from a staff morale point of view, those people coming through is huge.
Massive.
I mean, there's nothing worse, and we know this from a lodge point of view, is to sit with no guests and your staff are like you're looking for things to find for them to do. So no, like Mike says, it's definitely coming back.
And I think what the Thorny Bush group are doing really, really well now is that they're actually supplying that South African demand. They're putting SADC rates out, and the lodges, I mean, they're quite honest with themselves in saying that they're breaking even, but it is, it's getting bums in beds, because if a lodge,
supporting people.
If a lodge stands empty, first of all, your maintenance becomes a lot higher, things start breaking if it doesn't get used on a daily basis, and also that staff morale, for the guides or the trackers, they're getting out in the field, there's that vibe of, people in camp, and that just gives you a bit of positive energy to, make you feel that things are semi-okay.
Are happening, and like both yourself and Gerry had now mentioned, staff morale. There's so many times we get people on Instagram or wherever it may be who say, yes, we want your job, we want to join your team, we've got a major passion for wildlife. And Johan, I'm sure when the both of you, including myself, moved into this industry, yes, wildlife was the big thing. But over time you start realizing that it's more the people that we care about, and we want to change the way they see the world. We want to change their perspective on this natural environment. So you guys were spot on there. The people in this lodge,
lunch,
like our beautiful waiter here, bringing us yummy food, do what they do, and we do what we do for you. And without you, yes, our lives and our job it's a difficult thing. It's a tough thing.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, there's a couple of people that ask, because they've seen in our videos that there's a fencing line. So the question basically is about why are there fences, and people wondering, they thought that all African systems are open, like in East Africa. So why are there fences?
Okay, so
to keep crazy people out.
The big challenge is with a lot of communities bordering on a lot of the South African reserves is that human-animal conflict, and also South Africa as a whole has become a little bit too developed almost. You don't get those sort of vast areas like you do in Tanzania and in Kenya, where you can drive or fly over and it's just there's nothing. There's cattle and things. So South Africa, there's little towns, even like you can call it cities now almost.
Yeah, it's getting big.
Very
Look at
close to these.
close proximity to Kruger.
Yeah.
very close to those reserves. So it's a conservation project. It is to protect the animals. Thank you. To protect these animals, and also just to keep that human-animal conflict away. Look, it's a natural system. It's a big system, but as soon as you put a fence around it, you do have to manage it. No matter how,
Whether you like it or
how
not.
big it is. Yeah.
Has to happen.
So that's the reason.
Okay, last one here is, why is Gerry thinking the leopard will jump on the car?
Why? Why, Gerry?
Why?
No, that's, okay, we done.
It almost
Cool,
did.
We can
It almost did. No, but Mike's got video of this, so just watch his feed over the next couple of weeks. But hyena had kill? No, leopard had kill.
Leopardess killed.
Hyena
Nailed.
took kill. Leopard ran after hyena.
Yes, got the kill back.
And then something happened behind the grass, and there were sounds, and the leopard bounced off the tree and almost onto my lap.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens.
Doesn't sound as cool when you explain it like
No,
that.
that sounded quite soft. I'm sorry.
that was an epic sighting.
You don't want a leopard on your
your
seat,
lap.
that's for sure.
It'll spoil your day. No, it was a fun sight. It was an amazing sighting, but I did get a shock when he jumped from the tree this way to the car. So.
You don't expect it because
No.
because also the bush is so thick now. I mean, we didn't even see it. We didn't know what was going on.
Just heard this commotion.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
you come around the corner and it's like, boom.
I didn't sound like I was like, hey. Anyway, those are the questions for this
All the
week.
questions.
Cool. Vic, do you have a question for us?
Nope.
All right, good stuff.
Guys, that's it. Thank you so much for your questions. A nice short one. Beautiful location. Once again, this is our last night. So next week's episode will be coming from the Wildlife office again, from the studio. So as always, if you have any questions, our emails are down at the bottom. Send us a question and we'll happily answer them for you.
Done.
Cool.
Anything else from your guys' side?
Have a good day.
Yeah.
That's it from us. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye.